Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194, and I sure appreciate you taking the time out of your day to stop by and visit and check out my video. And we are here at Oulton Park and doing a setup. I had a request for a setup for the Audi R8 EVO. And just before we get started, just really quick, I just wanted to give an update on my wife. She's getting better slowly. I still have to help her all the time. Got to help her pretty much do all your basic stuff. Pretty much take care of her completely. To help her move around and just kind of steady her and do things like that. But she's able to put a little more weight on it and kind of you know mostly get up. I still got to help her get up and sit down a little bit, but she's getting stronger and doing better with her pelvis that she fractured. So she's getting better, and I just want to give everybody an update and thank you for all the best wishes and get well. And so let's get started with this. I have worked on this now on and off for a few days, and I actually had another video already made, but I still just had a couple things that I wanted to try, and so I actually did a lot more laps than I was going to. Well, I got 28 laps this time again, so basically, and this is multiple times, so I've few sessions again. So it's amazing how long it just goes on like that when you start getting into it and trying to, well, wait a minute, let me try this, let me try that. It's funny how that just seems to domino. But I'm going to do quick little track tips with this because it's so technical, and this is just how I do it. And believe me, I know there's so many better guys out there here at Oulton than I am. I'm just trying to give some basic stuff that you can go off of and that you can adjust on your own to make it better for yourself. My times are okay, but they're nothing to shoot fireworks over. So we'll go ahead and start, and we'll get behind the car here. Again, this place is just it can be so tough. So coming up here to turn one, right here, you see here where it starts to fade out right here, the line starts to fade out. That's my brake marker. It's too hard. I used to go off of the fence, but it's too hard to kind of see that. So I kind of just go right when I'm passing this. And I'm actually passing it, not vision, but actually going by it. That's when I hit the brakes and I go down to second gear. And you don't want to get on this curb on the inside too rough, or the curb on the outside of turn one too rough, because one, you'll get an out of bounds, which I'll talk about later, but you basically it'll upset the car too. It's really rough, so you just want to just touch it a little bit. So that was actually too much. But that's not too bad there. You just get on it and get off, it's okay. Now here, let's go back. Here, I usually shift up to fifth, or I'll forget going by that little station, little guard shack, and then between that last one and the two Pirelli barriers, I will be on the brakes. I go down to shift to second, hug the curb, and just go all the way out. You can go all over that. Just watch out for the grass, but other than that, it's fine. And come on up here. When you come up to this drive here, I'm on the brake. Just hit the brakes, go, and then downshift, and then go through the corner. Sometimes you got to hang on a little bit, and then here it's just basically where the guy is right here. Over here to the left is my brake marker. Now here, you can do this better than me, but here, this isn't too bad the way I am right now, but it's not bad here to come in a little hot and actually swing it up a little bit and then bring it back down like a double apex. And when you do it right, you can actually gain a good tenth or two doing that. So if you come in there too easy and you're just hugging it around, that's really not the fast way. The fast way is coming in there pretty hard because it's banked, and actually double apexing it, going up, and then coming back in and getting a little run down there. That's the best way. You can run it right out to the curb. And coming up here, basically this little concrete thing right here is where my brake marker is, and past this and this little concrete thing. And actually, I started going even a little deeper than that here. I think this next lap, a little bit past it actually. And this is a really I guess it's kind of a pretty technical section of the track. Now you can do two things with this car. I got it ride height to where you can run over this thing all over this if you want to, but it's kind of like rolling the dice. One time you'll go over it and you're fine. Next time, if you don't hit it just right, you might upset the car a little bit and kill your drive here. So to be more consistent, I would just kind of hug it. But what I would do is I would get on the brakes really hard and then coast in and downshift and coast the get down to second. And when I'm coming through here, then go into first. I wouldn't go into first right, all the way down. I would wait until I'm going through the chicane, then go into first to kind of not upset the rear of the car, and then that way, and then drive off going up. And it seemed to work really well. So I'm holding it now. I downshift first, coming right up and go. And like I said, it seemed like you really, if you time it just right, it's just good. You got to practice with it. And here, past this number one, I go past it and I'm on the brakes. Cut that. And you can run it a little wide there. And then you see this little dip. There's a little dip right here. Watch my arrow here. Mouse. Right there, there's a dip in the concrete. I aim for that dip, go past it, or just right up to it or past it a little bit, and then, just touch the brake and then rotate and then turn. Try to stay off those curves on the outside. They're really rough. Just barely touch them is okay. And then just go corner to corner, through that corner, come back to this corner. And then I'm basically before this sign here, after the other sign and before this sign, I'm on the brakes, downshift to third, and go through here. And I was having some problems going through here, but it's better now after I made some adjustments. And hug it, and just keep holding it and hug it again. And see how the road kind of comes back in on you? This road kind of comes back. So you got to be careful because you might think that you got enough room, but when you're coming off that corner, it's kind of coming back in, and you'll end up running off into this grass here real easy. So you make sure you have it, and you're not going to go off too wide here. And you can hold it fourth, or if you get a killer drive, fifth. And when I come up to this, press my brake marker, the arrow, basically, and I go down to first. I tried to second, and it doesn't make a difference really. If you do first just right and carry the corner speed, you might gain a few hundredths, but so it's there. You just got to carry the corner speed. There's a bump right here on the corner on the very inside. So you got to be careful because if you cut this too tight, you'll hit this real bad dip right here and it upsets the car. So if you just go a teeny bit out, you'll end up being better off, and you can run it out a little bit, and if you need to short shift it, that's fine. Just try to carry the corner speed going through here. Now that's a lap, and that's a 134.97. Now let's go. I want to show you this here. This is a lap later. Right here. See right there, I went out. That was an out of bounds. So it didn't help me because actually it's really bumpy right there, and I don't think it helped me at all. But it wasn't out of, I got an out, and that's why you can't run too wide. If you get up on here, right around here, I don't know where the out of bounds is, but if you get on here and get off, you're fine. But if you run out too wide here, I think my left side or my right side tires are probably right on the line or just pat, and that's probably the problem. But anyway, like I said, you just got to be really careful, plus it's really bumpy. So, but what I was wanting to show you is the rest of the lap. Because the rest of the lap was all clean. And again, I think some of the difference was just that tight chicane in there. I went in a little harder than I usually do, and a little harder through there. See how you kind of went up and down. That's where you're not even running it out to the edge because you're kind of double apex. And right here, just doesn't look like much, but it's just you're clean and you're not upsetting the car and you're just going. You're not steering, having to correct the car. It's so technical, this place, and that's the thing. Really all these British tracks, if you think about it, whether it's Brands Hatch, Centerton, this, Oulton. I mean, they're just so technical. You got to really, dot your, I's and cross your T's, so to speak. Great sound. Doesn't that thing sound great? I never get tired of listening to audio. It just sounds so nasty. Just mean and nasty. That was a 134.67. So again, I know it's in the car, and that's why I just wanted to show you, even though it wasn't my official fast lap because of the out there at turn 1. But that didn't make no difference as far as me going faster. If anything, it slowed me down. But yeah, that's really, really good, and it's definitely, the car is really consistent. It's not bad at all as far as consistency. It's just, me and Oulton, all these tracks like this that are really technical, sometimes, you end up just small little errors. That's all it takes. So let's go over to setup. We got 25.2 left side, 25.7 right side. The toe is negative 0.2 with the camber at negative 3.6 and the caster at 12.6. And again, I just like I always do, I tried a lot of different stuff, a lot of different toes, a lot of different alignments with the camber, more camber. That's about the least amount I did. I don't think I went under negative 3.6, but going up higher didn't really help nothing, so I just left it at that because I like the way it reacts that way. On the rear, the toe is 0.14 with the camber at negative 3, and I did try the negative toe with the rear, but it didn't do anything. Electronics are 3 and 3 and 1. Fuel had 50 liters. The number 1 brake pad. Anti-roll bars 2 in the front. Brake bias is 55, and that's a good starting point. You can go down all the way to 53 if you want to. So this is 55 is just a good starting point. I would probably go down to 54 as soon as the tires, or you can go down. You could start off with 54 if you want. I just do that there in case, until somebody gets too aggressive and they end up locking up the rear or whatever. So 55 is still pretty decent, but if you can, you got your brakes set up really nice, then yeah, you can go down to 54 with no problem. And during the race, you can go down even more than that. Steering ratio is all the way down. Springs are 153,000 on the front with a 700 bump stop rate and a 12 bump stop range. And on the rear, the springs are 144,000 with a bump stop rate of 600 and a bump stop range of 34. Anti-roll bar is 1 on the back with the preload on the diff is 90. Now, you can go 80. I would keep it between 80 and 100. If you like it different, 80 might help the car be a little bit more linear going through the corners and changing directions a little easier. So if you want to try 80, I wouldn't go under 80 just because I tried it, and you get a lot of you'd probably have to change the TC, because if you went under 80, like if you tried 50 or 60, it probably would help. Maybe in qualifying it'd be all right, but in a long run you'd probably have to run more TC because you get a lot of one wheel spinning and stuff like that. And going through there, if you get 80 or above, you get nice drives, coming off the corners. So anywhere between 80 to 100 is pretty good. Shocks are 12, 4, 21, and 5 on the front, and 10, 3, 18, and 5 on the rear. And again, all those have been adjusted, to get them pretty close using Motec. Aero got 58 in the front, 65 in the rear with a 5 rear wing and a 3 and a 3 in the brake ducts. And the front aero variation is a negative 3.9. So again, I've raised the car up a little bit, to go over that. Like I said, that one chicane that I was talking about, you can run over that curb if you want to. It goes right over it, so it's not an issue at all. It handles it probably better than most anything I've had, just because I've using Motec with the shocks, and it really goes over it a lot better, and it doesn't hit anything because the car's high enough. So it's fine, but still, I mean, you can just hit it just right. It might, it still can mess you up sometimes. So maybe if you practice with it, you can get it right. So that's just, again, that's your discretion. So that's the setup. I will leave a link to the setup in the description. And of course, I have a PayPal link in the description also if you want to help support the channel that way. But I really appreciate just a like and a subscribe if you haven't subscribed. All that is really thank everybody for any kind of support like that. It really helps the channel and all the YouTube stuff. And I sure any comments or feedback are great. I love talking to everybody, and I sure hope you come back and visit again really soon. Y'all take care. See ya.